Fairy Dirt by Thomley. Chapter 7. Brynn was excited that Max was willing to go to Zoe's cafe. She had overheard some other fairies talking about it at home one day. It was a restaurant that was safe and accommodating for all types of Mystica people. Super exciting. She never had anyone to go with before, so she was happy to have her first non-fairy friend to take with her. It was about an hour out of the way, so she was happy to get out of the car and stretch her legs when they got there. She suggested that Max just carry her, and they could get there much faster, but he insisted on being as inconspicuous as possible. She just hoped that being gone for so long today wouldn't cause any kind of problem for her. He might not be a human anymore, but something told her this still wouldn't go over very well. She started feeling giddy as they walked up to the restaurant. The building itself wasn't that big on the outside. It was a solid brick structure with a huge front door and no window. She assumed that was to accommodate the vampires. The sign had a blue neon light behind the Zoe's Cafe lettering. There was a small curved hallway after you walked in the front door leading to another door. It had to be to block out the sunlight. If you could walk straight in from outside, there were bound to be some vampires that would be burned each time someone came in. That would certainly be bad for business. There was a small wooden podium with a hostess leaning up against it when they walked in through the massive secondary front door. She smiled and showed them to a booth. "What do you think she is?" Brynn asked Max as she glanced around at the other people in the room.
She is definitely a wolf.
"How can you be so certain?"
I have an awesome sense of smell now, remember?
He laughed as he jabbed her with his elbow. "I guess I was so obsessed with the sunlight thing that I forgot about everything else. So who are all of these other people in here then?"
They are mostly vamps and wolves.
"How do you think the other vampires get here? Do they all have a spell cast on them or something?"
No.
Max chuckled.
There is a door in the corner that probably leads to something underground. They must come from there. You will probably be more interested in the fairy in the back, though. She didn't seem to recognize you, so she must not be part of your family.
Brynn glanced at her over her shoulder. Max was right. She had never seen this fairy before. She was relieved. She didn't want any trouble. A teenage-looking vampire came to take their order. Brynn was a bit surprised to see that they had so much normal food on the menu. The building was glamored, so there wasn't a chance of a human coming in. It just looked like a brick wall with no entrance of any kind to any human that might be passing by. She figured that people probably assumed it was an old structure that had been bricked up for safety reasons. There was also a side menu with a raw meat section for the wolves and blood for the vampires. She wondered what other types of Mystica came in that would want regular food. Was it just for fairies, or were there other beings that she didn't even know about? The growl in her stomach made her get back to the business at hand. She ordered a grilled chicken sandwich with extra pickles and fries. Max ordered something from the blood section. From what she could gather, the options were blood types. "How do you know what kind of blood to order?"
I don't. It was just a guess. I picked O because that is either universal donor or receiver. Seems like it would be a safe bet. Hopefully it won't be something disgusting. If such a concept exists for a vampire. I'm guessing it is kind of like ordering wine. We will see.
They continued to play their supernatural guessing game while they waited for their food to arrive. There were only a few people whose smell Max could not identify. She was going to have to do some research on them when she got home. It was exciting to think about what else could be out there with them. They learned about Mystica, but she always felt like they weren't being told everything. It wasn't a bit hard to concentrate with her stomach growling so loudly, though. Luckily, it wasn't long before their food arrived. There wasn't anything fancy about the dishes their meals came on. She was hoping Max's beverage would come in a fancy wine glass or chalice, but it arrived in a plain drinking glass. It was slightly disappointing, but that thought quickly left her head once she tasted her sandwich. "Did they glamour this thing to taste so good?" she asked out loud with a mouthful of food and a bit of a moan. Max said nothing, but offered her a grin as he sipped on his drink. She had no idea how cute she was to him right now. Brynn engulfed half of her sandwich in the blink of an eye. She hadn't noticed just how hungry she was until she began to taste her food. Max was right. He had drained her.
So, your spell casting has gotten much better all of a sudden. What do you think the reason is?
I don't know. I am pretty happy about it, though. It kinda sucks messing up all of the time. She kept trying to swallow her bites quickly so she wouldn't be talking with a mouthful of food. The sandwich was too good to put down.
How do you do it?
What? Casting?
Yeah.
Different ways. Sometimes there are phrases that I have to recite. Some spells work by visualizing and manifesting.
Have you gotten better at all of it, or just one of the methods?
Both. One way doesn't seem more successful than the other. Why are you so curious about it?
I don't know. I'm curious about all of it, actually. I never thought that any of this stuff existed. Now I'm living it, and I want to learn all that I can.
He smiled as he took another sip of his drink. How is your beverage? She asked Max with another mouthful of food, but Max didn't respond. He just sat there motionless, as if he had seen a ghost. Yikes. She should probably mind her manners if she wanted to keep her new boyfriend. Max? He didn't even flinch. His eyes were fixed on something behind her. Dude, you are starting to freak me out. What's wrong with you? Please like and subscribe for more free audiobook content.